Hey everybody, welcome back to Angry Badger Minis. We are just gonna sit around and figure out what we're gonna do. I've got that old Tyranid army I was telling you guys about, and I got it in my mind that I was gonna just start putting, my Agrax Earthshade all over it. And what I decided to do initially was to use my paintbrush, as you can see right here. That ended real fast. I decided to dump it all in here, and we're just doing a dip, basically for everything. And I've been doing that. Basically, all these gene stealers have been dipped. I'm sure that they probably still have some wet spots on them and stuff, or at least it's just shiny. And what I will probably end up doing is going back over them with a matte varnish, because I'm just not into a shiny look per se. And then there's some little things I'll probably try to clean up or whatever, but I've done everything that you see here. I've got termagants that I need to do, which I'll be doing on this stream, and then I've got 30, or maybe it's 22, I don't remember. I can't remember. One of these groups is 22 and one's 33 of Hormigons to go with termagants and whatnot. So that being said, I think these guys are dry enough that I can transfer them. So that's what we're going to do. Monkeys in a barrel. If you think about it. For those of you that are old enough to remember that. Basically, these bad boys always get hung up on each other, so apparently I must have got some of the Agrax Earthshade mix on the bottom of a couple of them because they're stuck to the cardboard. And as well as each other. What the heck? I mean, not stuck to each other, but like their hands are in the way. Come on. So that's the only thing I don't like about the gene stealers is, I mean, they can literally, the old style ones anyway, they can literally get themselves hung up in each other. And it is like the monkeys in the barrel complex of dealing with that crap. Anyway, yeah, pretty satisfied with what happened. I mean, it's, super simple. I mean, the models, for what they were and the paints that I had back in the day, they're fine. But of course, dunking them in, like, let me show you what I'm talking about here. Just, I know I showed this last night, but so this is the original, okay? And as you can see, there's not really any detail or whatever, and it would be a pain to do. But then when you dunk it, let me get that over top. When you dunk it, all that stuff gets in the recesses and everything, and it looks really good, except now it's a little shiny. And I mean, some of you guys might be like, oh, well, that's Tyranids, they're organic, shiny, whatever. It's just not the look that I like. So, that's all there is to that. But, yeah, I've done all the warriors and, stuff like that. This Brood Lord here. My Carnifex. And I had nothing to lose. I mean, it's a have fun army, if you will. Don't even care that I don't have another zone throw. I did go to look for some on eBay, and yeah, I'm not gonna do that. It's not worth it. And I got to thinking, I don't even have the same paints that I had back then. I don't know that I could even match the right color for this to do it. I mean, I still may do it. Who knows? But I was not, I mean, the price of the models was crazy. I'm just going to say that. It was super crazy. So, but this is real simple. All I'm doing is dunking these bad boys. Tap off a little bit of this stuff, whatever. And I do about 4 or 5 at a time. And I'll show you why here in a second. Because while I'm not worried about a lot of the stuff collecting anywhere on these models, I don't want it on the front of the face per se, like a lot. You know what I'm saying? And I don't, like for these guys, I don't want it on that little bit of green there on the flesh borer. So the rest of it's fine, it can do that, but I don't want to, you know, have some build up on the teeth and the eyes. But yeah, man, I mean, and I'll be honest with you, I've been itching to paint, and even though this isn't necessarily painting, it's close. It's enough to satisfy that itch, if you will. So kind of happy about that as well. Yeah, and I mean, there's other things you could do, I guess. I don't remember when, but I remember there was a point where guys were, I think they were using, what the hell were they using? Some kind of varnish maybe, or not varnish, I don't know, something that they were using to make a dip like this that would do the same thing that I'm doing here, just not with, you know, we'll say paint, which is what I'm doing. I mean, this is my own mix of, you know, acrylic medium mixed with ink, and I think I did put a little bit of paint in there. But as you guys can see, this is, you know, easy way. So to be honest with you, for like you beginner painters, you know, out there, or guys that are just like, man, I just don't want to have to do all that detail and stuff or whatever. Here's your what am I trying to say? This is your little pro hack, if you will. You can literally just, you know, make this out. And to be honest with you, dude, you could probably just do it with thinned out freaking, you know, like thinned out paint, like black paint or something like that, and then just wipe off all the excess that you don't want. But I mean, as you can see, you know, you're still going to need to paint it unless you're using like contrast paints or something like that, which I don't actually have any. Wait a minute, do I? No, I do actually. I have a couple. I've just never used them, and I got them, I think, for my skeletons and stuff like that, for whenever I get to my fantasy stuff, and I think also for doing Deathwing bone armor and stuff. I don't remember exactly why I bought it, but I have it. So anyway, what was I gonna say? I guess if you were doing contrast paints, I don't know if contrast paints will work doing this, but I mean, I guess after you had them, let them dry. I don't know. Like I said, I've never actually used them, you know, yet. But we'll see. But I'm thoroughly impressed by this. It's like giving new life to this army, even though it wasn't bad to begin with. And like I said, it's kind of, whoops, didn't want that to happen. That means that this guy is going to be literally stuck to the paper, most likely. So I'll probably stick him in the box after I'm done. We separate him off to the side. He probably won't be the last guy to do that. But when you're doing this, make sure you're using some like old Tupperware. You know what I mean? Because if you let it sit and dry, it'll get, you know, caked up in there. You might be able to get it out, I don't know, but this is all stuff we don't use anymore, so I'm not too concerned about it. Yep, that's simple, man. It's that simple. And you'll get enough, you know, enough of the stuff still in the recesses, especially around the eyes and stuff, that you know, it'll still be okay. I think this was a guy that I had already done it with the brush, and so it's gotten a little bit darker, but that's okay. If I want to, I could always go back over it and you know, mess around with it, but there's really no point, to be honest with you, because I mean, these guys will probably die in droves, I imagine. I mean, I've not played Tyranids in, this might work. I've not played Tyranids in 9th edition really, except on Tabletop Simulator, and I didn't really do it with Termagants at all, so I'm not sure how that's going to pan out. Let me make sure I've got my chats up here. Also, please, it'll help the channel if you will please like the video, share, and subscribe. And if you like what we're doing and want to help us out, there's a Patreon link below. In the meantime, this is what we're doing. So let's talk about some stuff here. One, the price hikes for Games Workshop. I'm sure many of you have already heard about it. You know, and it's just, it's crazy. I'm just gonna start like, I'm starting to play with a guy, you know, on Tabletop Simulator, and I literally told it, I mean, I have so much stuff. I'm like, dude, you know, and he wants to be basically a Space Marine player. I'm like, dude, don't buy anything. You know, wait until you know you really like the game, you know, if you really like the game, and then, you know, go from there. And then, I mean, that was like less than 3 days before, you know, GW decides we're going to raise the prices. So now, you know, I mean, they're hurting the ability, in my opinion, for new people to get into the hobby, and they're also pricing out us old guys. Because I mean, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not buying another damn thing. I mean, I'm pretty sure I won't be. Nothing that I don't really need. And now that I know how to, you know, I've gotten really good at mold making. You know, like I said, for my own personal, you know, benefit, not trying to, you know, steal from Games Workshop or anything like that, but dude, I'll be making my own shit for whatever it is that I need. I'm not gonna be spending or paying these prices. Are you kidding me? I mean, this is crazy. I think a Land Raider now is like $80 or something like that. I don't know the entirety of it, but I mean, my gosh, man, I remember back when it was like, I think when it first came out, I'm trying to think. I think it was right around $40 or $45. Then it went up to 50 or 55. Now I think it's up to 60 or 65, and now we're up to 80. And then, you know, you take a look at what Games Workshop actually said. For those of you that have been paying attention, you know, it's a cop out, man. You're gonna sit there and you're gonna blame, you know, the economy and whatever on why you have to raise prices. Well, why you've been raising them the other times? And it's not like, you know, they haven't, you know, been making money. I mean, you know, if you follow their financials at all, I mean, they make a killing. Yeah, they lost a little bit here recently, but it wasn't hardly nothing. I mean, you know, not in comparison to anything else. Plus, I mean, with COVID and everything else, basically they had a captured audience, literally captured, because you couldn't leave your house in some cases. For those of you that obeyed that rule, I didn't. Just like I don't wear a stinking mask. Screw that. And it's you know, what am I trying to say? They you know, they had, you know, they cashed in on that, you know. Yeah, just having the face, you know, seeing that face. Oh yeah, that looks good as it's drying there. What do we got here? 1, 2, 3. That's 18. So this might be the 33, guys. I don't know. I can't remember. Maybe the Hormagaunts are like 20 something. But anyway, this price stuff is getting out of control. And I said something about the new Dark Omens, I think, in this box set or whatever, with the Eldar and the Chaos Space Marines. 16 freaking models for $200. Get the hell out of here with that nonsense. You know, and a lot of you guys could probably be like, well, dude, I mean, look at all the stuff you bought from GW. I didn't buy everything from GW. I bought a lot of it off, you know, from like, I mean, technically it's GW because it's their stuff, but I didn't buy it from them. I bought from Neil at the War Store, you know, when he used to be around, off of eBay. Somebody got tired of playing 40K and they knew I was serious, like, hey man, you know, you want this? And then there was other stuff, you know, I mean, yeah. But I mean, I could probably count on both my hands how many times I've actually bought from Games Workshop itself. And that's including the 3rd edition box set that I got when I first really got into the hobby. You know what I'm saying? And now, I mean, this is crazy. You know, it's crazy, the pricing. It's absolutely ridiculous. And some of you guys may be like, oh, you know, Games Workshop's never going to go away. And I wouldn't disagree with you. I mean, they're too big in some cases, I guess, to fail, you know, if you want to say that. But I would say, honestly, the best thing that could happen to our hobby is for all of these guys that are getting crazy with 3D printing, whether they're selling models, which, you know, in my mind is the right way to go, not just the STLs, because you know, how many of us can afford to get a 3D printer or even want to deal with all that nonsense? Yeah, so there's 32 here. Well, and then 33. Yeah, so this was the third unit of 30. You know, it's just not, it's not right. And I mean, you know, oh, that's, you know, the way of the world, that's, you know, economics, that's capitalism, blah 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 blah. You know, they're a company, they got to make money, so forth and so on. Can't argue that. Okay, can't argue that. But I am a businessman, and I can tell you right now, the thing that keeps my customers coming back, besides the biggest part, which is the way that I treat them, you know, I mean, I don't necessarily kiss their ass, if you will, because I mean, we're dealing with, you know, serious stuff here. I own a gun range and things like that, so I mean, when it comes to safety, that's my priority. And if that person wants to give me an attitude about it, well, they will never shoot here again. I don't care what their experience is, and I don't care who they are. You know, you cannot get a life back, and I don't care how long they've been shooting. It's my rules, my range, my rules. Just as if I was on their range, I would do whatever they told me to do. So that being said, where's I gonna go with that? You know, some of the stuff that we do here, okay, requires us to purchase, you know, actual things, you know, like clay pigeons, for instance, for them to shoot. Well, those things have been rising ever since we acquired the business. I get that. But I don't go out of my way to go, you know what, well, the clays went up, so maybe I can get an extra $10 out of my folks, you know what I'm saying? I don't do that. And, you know, I only do what I feel we have to cover our overhead. And that's all that's needed. And our customers appreciate it. And in kind, they show up and make sure that we're taken care of. Basically by giving us their patronage. Paying it forward, if you will, on our end. And then it comes back to us, you know, that way. Well, how about this, man? All we got left is those Hormagaunts. I mean, that's it. That's all we have left to do. That's awesome. And then let this army dry, and we'll be good to hook. I did the Hive Tyrant. I'll show you him here in a second. This is not wanting to play ball with me at all. I don't really need all of this, I guess, all this space, but I wanted a fresh thing here. I did the Hive Tyrant with the brush, and I'm really satisfied with how he came out with the detail and everything. But he's a centerpiece, you know, guy, and if you guys take a look at him from the previous video, it should have been yesterday, you will see the differences in, you know, this Hive Tyrant now as far as detail and stuff goes versus before. I probably could have put a little bit more, you know, on the bone sword and on his head and stuff like that, and that's all stuff I can maybe do later if I want to, but of course it looks different than on the camera because it's a lot, you know, less bright or whatever, not on the camera, and you can see some of the detail and the shading. But yeah, I'm definitely stoked about how this stuff turned out. I mean, I won't lie, I was a little nervous, like, man, I hope this doesn't really ruin it. And so that's why I tested it out on one of these guys. Hold on, let me grab these one minute. This is another group that likes to get hung up in themselves because they're just a bunch of assholes, but it's okay. And I actually have a few more of these guys that are not painted like this, that if I can, I'll probably use them as my test base to see if I can match the brown, and, you know, the brown at least. And if I can, then I'll go ahead and I'll probably get those 3 zone throat or 2 more zone throats to make this army legit or whatever. But we'll see. I mean, it's not like I need it. I mean, this is a friendly game kind of army, you know. Want to be able to do some light battle reports and things like that. So we'll see. Yeah, I'm definitely digging this dip. Pretty happy about it anyway. This was the golden era, and you know, from when I first got into the hobby, I wanted Tyranids so bad. Oh man, I don't even remember how long it took me to get these guys. I know it took some time though, but man, and I never lost a battle with them. But that was, of course, all 3rd edition stuff. Like I said last night, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know if it's even, you know, if they're even comparable to what's going on now. I just don't even know. Maybe on a small scale, but it's amazing how just these few models, with the upgrades at least that I gave them based off of what oh my gosh, I put the wrong side. Maybe that can go on one of those Twitch stream fails YouTube channel thing, or YouTube videos that I like to watch too. Anyway, I'll be happy to be a guest star of that show. What was I saying? What the hell was I saying? I'm trying to remember now. That's another thing about these guys. They're super top heavy. You can try to bend them back and things like that, but it just, like this one in particular, I don't think this is one of those you can do. It's just there's too much steel or metal at the bottom. But anyway, yeah, this was the, you know, it just took me forever to get a Tyranid army, and you know, I think it's gonna be, you know, be nice, you know, to have some battle reports, you know, with, you know, get back into battle report stuff. I know we, you know, like we said, we disappeared for a while because, you know, we had babies and stuff like that. And that's weird too, because like, I don't know, it's just coincidence or whatever, but like a lot of the other miniature guys that I watch and stuff like that, almost every one of them had a baby or two, and you know, at like right at the same time. It's crazy, but you know, it is what it is. Just want to. Some of these guys have a small divot in the top of their head, and I don't want that black stripe all the way down the middle from when this stuff, you know, really dries or whatever. I don't care if there's a little in the back or whatever, but I just don't want it all over the entirety of the top of his head, if I can help it. And of course the face as well. And I'm trying to touch where it's dark so that I don't end up wiping off, you know, what I don't want gone from their blades as well, as much as I can. But of clearly this this towel wants to be the bane of my existence. But here we are, basically just one step, resurrecting an old army that I now have my hands back on. Because again, for those of you that don't know, this was, you know, I gave this army away, and now I have it back. And no, I didn't pay for it. I gave it to my mother, and she she thought she was going to get into it, but she didn't. So, and I asked for it back. So, nothing wrong with that. Plus, I'm trying to think. I don't even think I've seen an old school Tyranid army in any battle report ever. I mean, I'm sure there is, you know. I mean, there's got to be, but I've just not seen it. And I don't see that many Tyranid battle reports either. So, I mean, I think the most I've ever seen has been with Mini Wargaming. I think they're the only ones, really, with Matt and his Tyranids. Let me see something here. And if I think about this right, I'm trying to remember back when I painted this army. I don't think they were ever sprayed down with anything. I think I painted them, and that was it. So that means that this Walmart paint that I painted them with has been on there this whole time, and through jumbling around in a box and everything else, it still stayed on. Now, mind you, I mean, it sat there for probably a few years before any of that was happening. But, you know, and then it wasn't like, I mean, when I say jumbled around, just the trip getting there and getting back. This little bit of wash, or whatever you want to call it, is definitely giving these guys some character, and I like it. I like it a lot. There's subtle shading and shadows, you know, and all for just the amount of time that it takes for me to do this. That's all. I got a feeling I'm gonna catch you with my sweatshirt. Start knocking shit over. Midterms this week, man. So I'm also thinking about my next project here, and I know what it's going to be. But rather than waste the materials at the moment on trying to cast Chaos Space Marines, I think I'm going to start with regular Primaris Space Marines and just see how that pans out first. And what, you know, I mean, I know what I need to do. I've actually been, you know, planning it and, you know, basically writing down a step-by-step guide for myself, you know. And I also want to keep working on the tabletop simulator stuff, which, I mean, coincidentally, I told you guys that I had rules and playing with them for years, and here they are. This binder here. Now that's not the printed copy. That's just an older version. I say printed. I made myself my own little book, if you will, like you know, like a codex, if you will, out of cardstock paper or hard, you know, yeah, cardstock paper, and I will grab that here as soon as I'm done with these guys. We only got, what do we got, 4 left, and then this entire army is complete. Now that I think about it, since I do have those other 2 lictors, I think I am. I'm going to try to figure out this brown. I'm sure I can figure it out. I mean, I'm not a novice or anything, but you just never, you know, you never seem to get what you're hoping for sometimes when you got to go back and redo things. If you're, you know, if you're like me, you can point, you know, I'm sorry, pick out exactly what's wrong with the model, you know, and call it my OCD, call it whatever you want, but it irritates me to no end. That's all I can tell you. Yeah, these guys are, and I don't know, I might go back and, like, you know, once I've got this part sealed up or whatever, I might go back and maybe do some little highlights, whatever, because obviously it just depends on how they dry, but obviously these, you know, this dip is taking away some of the dry brush highlighting that I did, but that's okay. I mean, it's easy fix. You know, it wouldn't take long at all to do this army. And these guys right here, they don't really matter. You know, the Gene Stealers, the Hormagaunts, the Termagants, you know, they don't really matter. And I didn't go hog wild on everything on the Hive Tyrant. You know, he's still got a lot of his highlighting because, again, I did that with a brush. It's just, this would have taken forever with a brush, and as sharp as these, and I mean as sharp as these models are, especially these Hormagaunts, they are super sharp. Put an eye out on one of these things. And we're done with that, by the way. We're done with the army. Probably would have tore the brush up something fierce. Hold on a second. Yeah. Alright, so this is what I was talking about, Space Hulk homemade rules. And then I took and made sheets as well, so it's kind of like, you know, doing D&D or whatever, if you will. You could do it this size, you know, bigger, whatever. And we got the outline, if you will. I took this little frame thing from Relic, if you guys know that board game for 40K. That was is it Wizards of the Coast, I believe. But anyway, this is, I believe, the final draft, or it was. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't. Yeah, it was the final draft. And, you know, I just put pictures and things like that in there. But it's, you know, of course, a lot of this is, you know, back down to, you know, back when Terminators still only had 1 wound and things like that. So, I'll need to do some, you know, in like 3rd edition style, you know, attacks and wounds and stuff like that. I'll need to do some tweaking to this, but I'm super excited to get back involved with this as well. So yeah, written many years ago. I brought up from down below, I brought up a bunch of Eldar that are in this thing here that I haven't decided yet. I think now these were spray painted primed. When I say primed, I don't necessarily mean primer paint, I mean just black paint, because they're going to be Ulthway anyway. These were some that I got from somebody else, and these are old Wraith card. And inside here as well, down below, there's Striking Scorpions, and there's what do we got? Warlocks. We got Warlocks. We've got the old, is it Magara or whatever the heck his name is from the. I don't know Eldar that great. But anyway, like there's a Striking Scorpion. Got a couple of these old, what is this called? Eldrad Warlock. Anyway, Death Reapers, something like that. Anyway, I got a squad down in there, and somewhere, and I'm either gonna try to just scrape off as much as I can with the Dremel brush, this bad boy right here, and see how it works out. Or if I don't like that, I'm gonna dunk them in LA's Totally Awesome, because I am not going to buy these new Eldar. I don't play Eldar enough to worry about that, and I have enough Eldar to keep me busy for the rest of my life. Not to mention Dark Eldar and things like that, or what do they call them now? Eldari or some weirdness. Wow, Twitch is doing something weird right now. I mean, everything's like flashing over at Twitch. That's weird. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, you guys just watched me do a dip of what do we got here? Almost 60 models, basically. You know, and I mean, how long did that take? You know, how long we've been on? 30 minutes, basically. So, yeah, man. I mean, just because you got old models, like I said, you don't like the paint job or something like that, or you just want to try to find a way to upgrade them, or you're looking for a way to get some detail and shading in there real quick and not spin forever. You're just trying to get them on tape, because again, these guys die fast, you know what I'm saying, or they should die fast. All you got to do, make yourself a little, you know, dip thing like this, and then do it. You know, just dip them in, take off the little bit that you want, and you're good. And now I'm going to take this and put it right back inside the bottle, because it's still good for me. And let's see if we can do this without getting it all over everything. We can get another Twitch fail out of it. How about that? You guys see all that in there? That's the medium mixed with the ink that helps keep it onto the model. And for what it's worth, I think I might have used 5 milliliters for all of this, maybe. It's crazy, isn't it? And I made that, so it's, you know, super cheap. Let's see here. Yeah, I don't know why Twitch is doing that. Well, that's alright. It's not doing it on YouTube. Okay. And then, oh, and if it wasn't for the fact that I needed a reservoir deep enough to do the bigger models, I probably would not have used this. That's why I keep these things around. You know, the blister packs and stuff, because they're perfect paint trays and stuff like that, and they're disposable. Like, I'm just gonna get rid of this now. You know what I mean? Because there's no reason to hold on to it. I want to show you guys some other tools that I use. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure some of you guys have seen it. Have you ever seen or used a Vortex paint mixer? Super awesome. If you haven't, I'm going to tell you right now, I was kind of showing my wife about it. It makes your paints, I'm not even kidding, silky smooth, man. This is the Rune Lord brass that came in one of the Imperium magazine deals. But the problem was, I was looking at it and it was, and I haven't even opened it still. But the problem was, I could already see that it had started like catching, you know, drying or whatever you want to call it inside. Which I was like, man, really? This looks like a brand new bottle. Blah blah blah. And it was, man. I tried shaking it up, nothing was moving. Put this bad boy on, you know, on the Vortex here, and man, freaking just like, I mean, like it was nobody's business. Totally fixed the problem. But anyway, let this stuff sit here. So yeah, I mean, I don't want this video to be like I hate Games Workshop. I mean, if that were the case, I mean, I'd never be in this hobby to begin with. Or I'd have quit a long time ago, I mean. And I don't. I mean, I do not like their business practices whatsoever. I think the hobby has strayed, and I think some of you heard this from me. I think the hobby has strayed so far from its roots, it's ridiculous. You know, I mean, I remember back in the day when you were encouraged to model, when you were, you know, and you know, get things that could work, you know. For those of you that are old enough, do you remember the vehicle design rules? Those things were awesome. I made my first for Tyranids. It didn't really last because it was made out of foam. It's all we had, and I didn't know a lot back then. But I made my first subterranean Tyranid thing, transport thing, because, you know, I'm thinking a cross between the movie Dune and, you know, just in my mind that would happen. And lo and behold, you know, now we have that. We have we have the Trigon and things like that can, you know, come up out of the ground, and then things can deploy. And then you also have the mycetic spores and the I forget, was it the Terrasite? Is that what it's called? I can't remember off the top of my head. But anyway, yeah, I'm pretty stoked about, you know, what's going on here in resurrecting this army. And I'm stoked about what I'm accomplishing on, oh, that's what's going on. Now I know why Twitch was messing up. I had my damn, sorry about that, Twitch. Had the, I moved the Zeldar over, and apparently it was just enough to have the Tupperware container on the space bar there. Makes sense. But, alright. And I only just figured that out because I've still got one of my college papers pulled up, and it was scrolling like a madman. Anyway, let's see here. And I mean, it doesn't take forever for this stuff to dry, but I mean, you want to give it some time, and especially before you start putting your fingers all over it. And then look for any imperfections. Like I've got, you know, some of these bases have some build-up puddles of this stuff. Well, that's why I'm keeping the brush out, so I can just soak that right up by just placing the brush right on it. You know what I mean? If you happen to see something like that, it's not like it's gonna dry like a big giant puddle, but it could be shinier than you want it to be. And you know that, if you know, I'm sure you guys are just like me, and you're trying to pinch pennies as you can for this hobby, and it's just more product you're gonna have to use to deal with those mistakes, or you know, whatever. And it's longer time for it to dry and things like that. Yeah, man, I mean, that was one of the biggest things that drew me to this hobby, was the making of things, you know? I mean, because we didn't have a lot of models, the terrain sucked. I never liked the old cardboard paper terrain, never. 3rd edition, I believe, of 40K, if I'm not mistaken, was like one of the first editions that had anything that was plastic. But I mean, the trees were ridiculous. The ruins weren't too bad. I still actually have some of them, but it just, you know, it's nothing like what we have today and what people were able to make 3D printing and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, it's a wonderful hobby. It's just a very poor business model, that's happening right now. It's very, very poor company, the way that they're handling things. So, some other things in the works, like I said, is battle reports, and we're going to try this out. I'm going to try it out ahead of time. I got myself a couple of things here. I got myself a neck camera holder for my phone. It goes on your neck and it sits about chest level. I also got one for my head that'll hold the phone, so that way I can do battle reports like that, and not have to have, I can actually play and just have the camera going. And I'm gonna do some test stuff on that. I don't know if I'll do it live or if I'll do a recording. That way I can edit out, some things, just to speed some things up or whatever. But and that might be the case. We just have to see how much time I have with school and all. School is the priority at the moment. And and I'm sure a live game would be cool. It'd be nice to be playing and see some of you guys chatting, telling me, "Hey, dude, you're screwing this up. You could have done this, or you could have done that." I mean, I'm long in the tooth in this game, but in the game in general. But I mean, I haven't, like I've said many times before, I have not really played 9th edition. I've just never had time, and now I'm starting to. And the best that I've been doing is on Tabletop Simulator. So, but yeah, I mean, things are working out. Oh, as a matter of fact, we're talking about old terrain. Speak of the devil, this right here on this lictor, let me turn him around, I don't know why I just did that. This is part of the old terrain set. I had just cut it. You can see where I cut it right there. Like I say, we did some OSL lighting there. And yeah, he's completely black / camouflage except for the OSL. But that was the point of it. And some of you guys are like, man, that was an easy paint job. No, it actually wasn't. It was a pain in the ass, because if I remember correctly, I didn't actually plan like I wanted to. And the OSL is not that great anyway. I don't even think it was called OSL back then. It was just a glow, right? And that's all I was trying to do. And knowing what I know now, and having done what I've done, plus having an airbrush and that kind of stuff, I mean, I could have done so much better with this, even in the state that it was in, where I had to fight the terrain and everything else. It's still good to go. I mean, I couldn't overload the OSL because, I mean, honestly, it's an Auspex. I mean, it's not giving up that much, that much light, or shouldn't be, at least in my opinion, but who knows. Some other things that I have acquired as of late is, and I don't know if you guys are interested in this, but I got myself, oh yeah, I did seal this up, hold on. I got myself, I mean, I already have drill bits and stuff, but this was a drill bit set, and I mean super small drill bits, dude, that came with this thing. I didn't even remember that this was part of it. I thought it was just these. It's a hand drill as well, but the main thing is it's a jig, dude. It's a jig for making sure that everything is straight. Now, I have not put it together, but you guys will get the point of this, where I can set this up, and the drill, whatever it is that I'm drilling, will just go straight down into it, and I don't have to worry about angles and all that kind of stuff. So it's super cool. You got yourself a little bit of a vise here. Let's see. Like I said, I have not set this up, so I'm not entirely sure how it works at the moment. But basically, it sits like this, or should be sitting up like this. Put your thing in and then drill back down. So, pretty stoked about that. I feel like I'm looking at this and I'm like, man, is there a piece missing or something? But if there is, well, and I got it off of Amazon, so we'll see. If there is, I'll just let them know, hey man, missing some stuff here. But I'm sure it's got something to do with the instructions and the way to do it that I haven't looked at yet. Alright, what's going on? Don't you just love when you try to put things back in a box and they just don't want to go back in the way that you got them. Gotta love it. Hold on, y'all listening? This is ASMR, right? I'm kidding, man. I don't give a shit about that. That's like the only thing apparently that Twitch wants to recommend to me for some reason. At first, I didn't even know what the hell it was. Alright. We got a ton of models over here sitting in. We've got 6 giant mason jars of models sitting in LA's Totally Awesome, having the paint just fall off of them to the bottom. It's amazing. Awesome. I'll take a day, probably next week, I think, to scrub them or whatever. Wash them and then, you know, scrub them or something like that. But right now I'm not too concerned about it. Set this over here, set this brush up. Also got myself a caliper, and the reason I got this is I ran into a problem, and it's my own fault. It's from packing and everything else, but I ran into a problem where my magnets got overturned in a box. And yeah, I could sit there if I wanted to and try to measure and try to figure out exactly what I had or whatever, and this caliper does millimeters and inches. So it's perfect for me if I ever need to buy another one or sorting that out. Because all I gotta do is open it up, stick the magnet in, come down, you know, and it's gonna tell me roundabout what it is. Now this is not some super high speed caliper, but what I do like about it is it activates as soon as you start moving it. I don't know if it times out. You can reset it at any point, but you know, I'm super pleased with it, and it came with an extra battery, so can't beat that, man. Let's see, did I get anything else lately? And that's something I've been wanting for some time, to be honest with you. I don't see anything. Wait. Nope, that's just more LA's Totally Awesome that we bought. I love that stuff, man. Oh, yeah. So I bought some more Bob Smith Industries Instacure glue, 2 ounces, and this. I'm not gonna pull this out because I taped it up, but what I bought was, let me see, I could actually, especially for you guys that build Titans and stuff. Let me see here. I'm gonna show you what I bought, because remember I was telling you guys how I did not like the resin cables and stuff like that that came with the Titan. I didn't want to have to deal with that. So I found these. Let's see here. Let's see if I can get a window up for you guys. This. I don't know why that's backwards. What the heck? Huh. I don't know. Anyway, what it is long metal gray tension spring. And I'm going to use this as the pipes for the Warhound Titan and some other stuff, because it'll flex. You know, I'm just going to glue it to the pieces, you know, that it goes to, and then I'll magnetize them in the 2 spots, and then, you know, if I had to transport it, which I probably won't, you know, you can just take them off. But this stuff right here, you know, it says, and I'm sorry, I don't know why it's backwards, this is weird, Uxel 100 centimeter long metal gray tension spring, or just look for tension spring, but 100 centimeters. Look at that, man. $8.91. You know what it costs. Super easy. Super easy. So, anyway. Let's see what else. Okay. Just checking out my live streams, make sure everything's working. Seems like everything is. And hopefully the midterms are done this week. We'll be able to start doing some desk upgrades here with some light and things like that. I also bought the head thing, so that I think that that's going to help me when it comes to painting, but I've got to figure out how that's going to be on my head, because I know it needs to be. I think if it was on my head up here, it would give me a lot more room instead of me trying to paint underneath a camera that's sitting right there. And since I don't have $1,000 to spend on a camera right now that can sit behind me and zoom in, I gotta use what I have. So that's where we stand with that. Not a bad thing, just a goal to reach, hence Patreon and things like that. So anyway, I wanted to thank you guys for tuning in. Just wanted to do this quickly as I could and share this with you. I know it's a short one, but like I said, I got midterm, so got studying to do and things like that. So with all that said, thank you guys so much again. If you want to support us, Patreon link below. Please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.